Hi, it's Greg, and welcome to the Personal Dog Training Calls with Clients podcast, episode 19, Small Dog Issues with Children and Freezing on the Leash. Thanks for tuning in. You're going to hear that this lady gave me a call. She got referred by a local vet practice, and her 4-year-old dog is showing signs of, kind of reactivity towards children at best, and is also freezing on the leash.
Thank you.
So how'd you hear about me?
I am CC's a patient at Saguaro Vet Clinic, and they recommended you as a trainer.
Oh, cool. Yeah, they've been referring me for like 8 or 9 years now, and I work with a lot of the same patients that go there. And sounds like this dog's named Cece?
Yes.
Okay, and she's 10 pounds. I got your email. I did write notes out. These are all issues that I can help you with through the private training that I do. So I do come to you and work with you in your home. I offer board and train and boarding services as well, but most clients start by doing the private training. And then, there are concerns. Why don't you tell me a little bit about how she acts with your daughter and some of the concerns, I guess, that you have there?
Oh, yeah. So, they get along, mostly.
Okay.
So I'm not at any point worried that she's gonna bite my
Daughter.
baby is a boy, so
Okay.
so I don't feel like that Cece's gonna bite the baby at all.
Okay.
It's more that like she has like some problems with like levels. So if like she's up on the couch and the baby is like crawling around or stuff, she kind of gets a little territorial. And then we just spent a week with a toddler, and she would not leave the toddlers alone. We kind of narrowed it down to like kind of erratic movements. They don't move. The kids didn't move very predictably. So whenever they started running, we think she's trying to play. Like it never made us feel worried. But it was still kind of scary. Like she would get in the kid's face and bark at them.
Okay,
So.
It could be a bunch of things, and I'll help you identify exactly and work through it no matter what it is. She's 4.5 years old. If it's movement-based, there's a hunting drive element, believe it or not. Like movement, I chase it down. It could be a variety of different things too. So
Okay.
I can help you identify all those, and then help you get ways to get her re-exposed to children if she's having those kind of issues. It's funny, I live diagonally across the street from an elementary school that also has like I guess they have a preschool over there as well. So there's really little kids and all the way up. So I always take my clients' dogs, when school's in most of the year. We go when the school's going in and out and walk the dog using certain types of structure. You had mentioned she also freezes on the leash. So there sounds like there's some unevenness in her overall social development. Basically, I'll help you with as well,
Okay.
Because like you said she's locking up on the leash, or she doesn't like to walk or something, right?
Yeah. Like we were in Flagstaff. I mean, it was 78 degrees. Sometimes if she doesn't walk here, we assume it's hot or too sunny or whatever. But it was gorgeous, and she's on leash, but she would just stand in the driveway. She wouldn't move.
And then my next question is,
go ahead.
does she have? What do you walk her with? Do you use something around her neck, or do you use a harness or something?
Harness.
And that can be major part of the problem, honestly, because if the dog hasn't learned to follow a leash and collar around the neck pressure is actually following it, and teaching the dog to follow it is actually part of early social development.
Okay.
So like I know she's small, but it doesn't matter how small they are. They still need something around their neck, because that's how you can unfreeze them. The harness makes them lock up, and lots of times they can slip out of the harness. So, and you can never unlock them with a harness. It kind of goes back to like a lot of things I teach over and over is let's look up the definition of harness and why. And then if you start walking, that will help unfreeze the dog, right? I'll show you when we have to go all the way back there. Then you can walk with a structure and re-expose the dog, because the best way for the dog to get used to people and kids is by walking past them without them touching. So that's why having the school diagonally across from me is really good. When my dog was a young puppy, we walked him past everybody until he was quietly curious about everything. Then we started doing the introductions. And then the collar around the neck also, once we get the dog on freeze, we can put a collar that allows for a correction around the neck. So if we're walking and the dog starts yapping or barking into kids' faces, we'd have a leash and a collar around the neck and give a physical correction with a no verbal that leads to the no verbal working at a much higher percentage permanently, right?
Okay.
So these are just like little things that you haven't been introduced to. You have a very sweet dog, obviously, because dogs that don't learn these things for years on end usually do something really bad by the time I meet them. So that shows you have a pretty stable, naturally sweet dog. Doesn't mean she's gonna try to resist this stuff, because things you want to teach her. Again, you had mentioned she also likes to steal food, right?
Yes.
So you're gonna have to teach her place command, and that's gonna a lot about boundaries. So I'll teach you those commands as well, where she can be in a dog bed, not on top of everybody, and it's a command where you teach them to relax and not be on top of everything.
Yep.
And she's sweet, and like you said, you know her personality. Like she'll never bite the baby and this and that. Again, you just don't want anything by accident to happen down the road. Like you're saying, I'll help you check off on all that stuff. I work with a lot of kids and babies over my career.
Awesome. Okay, great.
Probably hundreds at this point, hundreds of babies and kids. And unfortunate situations where dogs have already bitten children. Sometimes we're just trying to integrate. Sometimes we just want to check up. I used to do a lot of kids camps as well. So I just love it, and teaching the dog stuff. I have a client right now who's a 3.5-year-old, and then had a little dog that was biting everybody, just like in a very way that was kind of like bratty, And now the dog, you just want to make sure that they're living together the right way, So a lot of my clients will do private training, then a short board and train at some point, just to make sure the dog can be okay here. Sometimes just a few days, and then they become a boarder for. I have a dog 8 and 10 years. They've been with me.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah. I have a lot of long-term relationships, like I do with Saguaro. It's hard to have long-term relationships as a dog trainer, believe it or not, because you're supposed to work yourself out of the job. And then, especially here in the valley, the nature of this valley is very transient. Like people every few years forget that I'm here for some reason. I'm very steady, dude. I'm very not going anywhere.
Awesome. Yeah.
But we can look at schedules. I'm happy to answer any other questions you have. It sounds like you're a very sweet dog.
Yeah, and we did some like the AKC puppy course right before she was even 1.
I teach a series of things that I've developed myself. Unfortunately, I had to. I mean, just a little quick background. It affects what I'm going to be teaching you. And I got into dog training, and I wanted to do behavior stuff. And I thought 15 years ago they had it all figured out. And they didn't. The industry still doesn't. So I started creating new things. So when I talk about, lots of dog trainers wouldn't ask the question about this dog on the collar and teach you how important it is right away. Because when I have a puppy, I deal with a lot of 8-week-old puppies, And I'm in the homes. There's not dog trainers that do this, for real. I love to meet them. I'd have a colleague. And so I knew early on you got to teach them not to chew on you and things. You got to teach them the potty training. You got to teach them to tolerate the kennel so you can do the potty training. And the fourth thing, which is the hardest thing in puppy social development, is get them to follow that leash and the neck pressure. And the quicker you can do that, the quicker you can start doing adult training. And the adult training is the place command is probably the first adult training, because you have to walk the dog onto the dog bed. And if they lock up, you can't walk them onto the dog bed. They're going to resist learning this next thing. So I can start to help you with what pieces need to happen. And you have a sweet dog. If we start using the leash and the collar a little bit to move the dog the way we want, to correct her, right, when she wants to go for the food, and start moving her using the leash and correcting her using the leash and commands, and some boundaries, which I'll teach you, she's going to come along really quick.
Awesome. Okay, great.
Okay. Do you want to look at schedules?
Sure.
Hey, it's Greg, and as you can hear, this lady and her family definitely need some assistance with their dog. And I think you got a clear overview of some of the issues and concerns that I have, and some of the things we're going to work on. I want to thank you for listening to the Personal Dog Training Calls with Clients podcast, episode 19, Small Dog Issues with Children and Freezing on the Leash. Make sure to go to our YouTube channel at Personal Dog Training and subscribe so you can get the latest episodes.